2020 regular business meeting of the Waynesboro City Council. Dr. Hostetter, please. Pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. To remind those in attendance this evening, if you'd like to speak, we've got a sign-in sheet in the back room as you entered, and would be glad for you to sign up as we reach that portion of the agenda this evening. First item on the agenda is adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to do so?
So moved.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. All right, next is appointment of interim Ward A councilperson. So in this instance, we are to consider making an interim appointment to the Waynesboro City Council filling the vacant Ward A representative term expiring June 30th, 2020.
I can't hear you.
All right, so item 3 is to consider making an interim appointment to the Waynesboro City Council filling the vacant Ward A representative term expiring June 30th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to appoint Ms. McCutcheon.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great, thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion carries. Ms. McCutcheon, we look forward to you joining us at our next regularly scheduled meeting. I very much want to extend our appreciation to all of the applicants for taking their time and interest in the position. It was a difficult decision, but very much appreciate all of your service, and certainly Ms. McCutcheon's service to our community, and look forward to working with you over the next several months. So thank you. Thank you. And actually, if you have a moment this evening, maybe Mr. Hamp or Ms. Porto might be able to even do the swearing in for you afterwards, if you want to stick around. Thank you. All right. Next order item on the agenda is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Next are matters from council members. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share this evening? Okay.
I'm good.
Yeah, we've been busy, so appreciate that. Okay. Item number 6 is a Business Appreciation Award. And with that, I'll do a little introduction for that. Over a year ago, with the support of my colleagues on City Council, we started a business visitation program here in the city of Waynesboro. And as I've shared with the leaders of these businesses at the start of every visit and every factory floor tour, this idea is not rooted in the thought of we're from the government and we're here to help. Instead, it's rooted in we're from the government. We want to be an advocate for your success. We want to help you when and where we can. And most importantly, we want you to know this simple truth. Our community appreciates you, your business, the products and services you produce, and the employees you employ. We've got many more businesses to visit, products and services to get educated about, and success stories to help celebrate. It's for that reason we wanted to pause and take time to publicly show our appreciation to members throughout our business community. There are amazing products and services being manufactured in our city, and it has been an absolutely eye-opening experience, I think, for all of us to learn of that. Millions of parts and components that we use and or depend on every single day, made right here in Waynesboro. So to acknowledge and show our appreciation to those companies we've already visited, to help spread the word of the work that they all do, and showcase those companies that we plan to visit over hopefully the next several months and years to come. With the support of my council colleagues, we are thrilled to extend the first in a series of Made in Waynesboro Business Appreciation Awards. So first up is a company that continues to enjoy growth and success here in our city. They collectively offer a wide variety of aerospace, space, satellite, industrial, medical, transportation, and many other integrated solutions ranging from product engineering, circuitry production and assembly, precision manufacturing and machining. The company is Vertex. Until recently was known as PPI Times Zero. And we've got some representatives here this evening I'll introduce here in a moment. So with Vertex leadership, I want to tell you about things kind of on deck for Vertex and our community. With their leadership and assistance this week, our community will host an impressive roundtable within the trades and education community to discuss strategies aimed at improving job readiness and strengthening skilled trades education in and around our community. So tonight, it is both my honor and our honor to present Mr. Dana Pittman with Vertex with the first Made in Waynesboro Business Appreciation Award. Do you have anything you'd like to share?
Well, we started operations here in 2011. We've added 150 employees now. So the aerospace and defense markets have been very kind to us, and it looks like we'll continue to grow in the coming years. So again, thank you. Appreciate the honor.
Great. Thank you so much for all that you do.
All righty.
All right. Someone have anything else they'd like to add? That we will move on to number 7, which is to hold a public hearing and consider introducing an ordinance granting a conditional use permit allowing adult daycare in a heavy industrial use zone located at 1300 Hopeman Parkway, tax map 16-1-2. Mr. Hamp.
Mayor Short, members of council, Ms. Kira Johnson, our associate planner, will make the presentation this evening.
Great. Hi, Kira. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you, Mayor and Council. Today I'll be presenting on a conditional use permit that was requested by Vector Industries Foundation for an adult day support service that they've named Vector Pathways. The heavy industrial zone's primarily used for major manufacturing facilities. It's the least restrictive of our zoning districts. And the property is located on the northern corner, surrounded mostly by other heavy industrial uses to the north and to the east. To the west, we have some residential, and to the south, there's Basic Park, which is also in the heavy industrial zone. A little background on this conditional use permit. The building itself houses Vector Industries, and there's a corner part of it that didn't fit into their industrial needs. And in 2015, Valley Community Services Board requested a zoning text amendment and a conditional use permit. The zoning text amendment was to add, to allow daycare in the highway or the heavy industrial district, and that was granted. And so then the conditional use permit was to have an adult day support center, and that was also approved. Valley Community Services Board ended up not moving their program into that building at that time. And now Vector Industries Foundation, a little background on them. They employ persons with diverse disabilities, and their vision is to enable them to reach their potential as productive community members. They do this in various ways, primarily partnering with other businesses or other industrial clients to provide services that include assembly, logistics, operational support. And within Vector Industries, they see employees ready to transition beyond employment, but there's not a lot of opportunities or options in this area for those people to go. And so seeing that need, Vector Industries decided to form their own adult day support center and named it Vector Pathways. Vector Pathways fills that needed day support services for adults with developmental, intellectual disabilities. They have been working for the past 2 years to get licensed by, I have it here, Virginia Department of Behavioral Health and Development Services. So they've been going through that process. They've been licensed. That was approved in 2018. Receiving the conditional use permit is one of the last steps before they can get their program kickstarted. They've been doing a lot of work on the space that the program will be housed in. They've added new flooring, done a lot of painting, added furniture, make it fit for the uses that it will house. There we have some more of the outfitting that they've done. An analysis that we've done, the floodplain, it does fall within the floodplain, but there's no building expansion, and so there's no additional flood protections that are needed. The parking zoning ordinance requires 1 spot per employee, and there are 2 employees, so there's enough parking, and as the program grows, if there are more employees, there will still be enough parking for them, as you can see in the picture there. Building permit, the use and occupancy changed from its previous use. So it went from moderate hazard factory industrial to an institutional day care, and that's already been granted. Public utilities, no major impact on those. So Planning Commission recommends approval on a 6-0 vote with the following 3 conditions. The first is all requirements of the Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Code and the Virginia Construction Code shall be continually maintained during the operation of the proposed adult day support services. This ensures that the use meets all the codes for a safe separation between the adult day support services and the industrial uses that are also housed on that property. And they're already going through that and making sure that happens. The second recommendation is that no heavy truck traffic shall be allowed within the parking lot or the loading unloading area situated between the proposed adult day support services and Hopeman Parkway. And so I've marked with the red line there, no trucks can go beyond that, and they're putting signs up to make sure that happens. Just to maintain safe separation with the industrial uses in the back. And the third and final condition is that the conditional use permit is issued exclusively to Vector Industries Foundation, is non-transferable to another entity without further amending the conditional use permit. This allows the city to reassess the desirability, the suitability, if there ever were change of ownership. Any questions? And we do have Cheryl and Chrissy from Vector Industries here, if you have any questions for them as well.
I have a simple question. How many clients do you expect to serve in that space?
You're welcome to come on up if you'd like to. Okay.
I could answer it too.
20 to 25.
Maximum of 25.
Max. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Start out and see how it goes. Great.
Great. Thank you so much. Any questions? Any additional questions?
No?
Thank you. All right. So with that, I will open up the public hearing. Do we have any?
So no one has signed up to speak, Mr. Mayor, unless the applicant has any additional comment or information they wish to share.
No? Sure. Okay. With that, we will close the public hearing. Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
Great. Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, this ordinance, having been introduced and seconded, will be discussed and considered at our March 23rd regular business meeting. So thank you all so much for all that you do and wonderful services. So thank you. All right, item number 8 is to receive a presentation from Anna Levitt, Director, Community Action Partnership of Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro of the agency's 2019 annual report.
Hi.
Anna, how are you?
Very well. Thank you very much for this opportunity to provide an update on Capsol Services. I'm Anna Levitt. I'm the director. We do have 2 of our board members here tonight who are representing Waynesboro as well, and there's Mr. Sullivan and Mr. Flory is in the back there. So they're here as well to answer your questions. Capsol is the Community Action Partnership of Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro, and we fund and support programs providing services to low and moderate income families working towards improved self-sufficiency. Our funds come from a combination of federal community service block grant dollars, state dollars, and local match funding provided by the City of Stanton, the City of Waynesboro, and Augusta County. Each year, our board of directors reviews and selects funding recipients from a competitive application pool. And once those are selected, those programs are contracted, they provide services, and they also provide exhaustive quarterly and annual reports with a ton of demographic information, outcome-related information. They participate in site visits on a rotating basis, and this helps to enforce accountability and encourages those programs to accurately measure and report the impact of those dollars on the community that we're serving. I believe you have copies of our 2015 through 19 fact sheet. It's just a two-pager, and that is our most recently completed planning period. We do have a more in-depth annual report that can be found on the website, which is actually hosted on the City of Waynesboro's location. From July 1 of 2018 to June 30th of 2019, over 24 programs were contracted to provide services, and they provided and support the foundations of self-sufficiency. So those services are going to increase opportunity and improve a family's capacity to achieve success. Some of those agencies are going to include Blue Ridge Court Services, Blue Ridge Legal Services, Valley Program for Aging Services, Valley Hope Counseling, Head Start, Early Head Start. There are over 24 agencies that are all working together. They're focused on education, employment supports, housing, medical and behavioral health, and crisis intervention services. Programs received about $417,000 in reimbursed funds this year from CAPSAW, and that contributed to an estimated financial impact of about $3 million in just one fiscal year. Over 17,000 volunteer hours were provided by community members to support those initiatives. 4,000 of those hours were provided by program recipients themselves, so people that are receiving the services are also giving back to that success. We served about 4,700 individuals, and some of the outcomes they reported included $1.3 million in savings and income that they acquired as a result of those services, and $1 million saved through using reduced cost and sliding scale services. An example would be, a timely example, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program is currently running. They receive CAPSAW funding, so low-income and working families who are using that service then don't have to pay a tax preparer to prepare those taxes, so we include those savings as a reduced cost or sliding scale service. We had 800 kids who accessed childcare, preschool, after-school, summer programming. We have 1,000 individuals who are in case management, so they received reduced-cost legal services, mental health services, transportation, anything that they need to achieve success. In addition to that federal, state, and local funding pool, the board has also created a funding opportunity that's just local dollars. So those are local-only dollars, and that is also competitive. It's a maximum of $2,000 per grant. And those grants are for things that are for services that are ineligible for those federal dollars, or for items. An example would be the Waynesboro Area Refuge Ministry got a refrigerator last year. That's not something we would do with federal funds, but we can provide that support with local dollars. Sometimes those agencies are receiving the other funding pool as well. But these are services or something that's just not eligible for those federal funding opportunities. In a lot of cases, there are agencies that are not receiving the other funding but can't really do the reporting that's required for the other services. An example would be a local food bank who has volunteers that are running that agency, so they don't necessarily have the person power to produce those kinds of reports. So examples of folks that got funding last year from that pool were Valley Career and Technical Center, the Boys and Girls Club, Valley Mission, Ride with Pride, the Talking Book Center, Renewing Homes. So again, agencies that are working to provide supports for low and moderate income families. In 2019, we also met all of our federal and state organizational standards, which we were very excited about. We completed a site visit from the state, and they were here for 2 days and spent a lot of time with us, and also went out to the agencies that we fund and completed site visits there, and everybody came through with flying colors. Moving forward, we're going to continue to support innovative and collaborative programs addressing barriers to success faced by low and moderate income residents, as well as services improving the quality of life. One of our most significant partnerships is represented by the people in this room. CAPSAW was founded in 2009 by the City of Stanton, the City of Waynesboro, and Augusta County, specifically to address the local causes and conditions of poverty. So we're going to continue to strive towards our vision of establishing a poverty-free community, and we hope that you will share with us your thoughts and concerns and ideas about how that should look and what we should do. I'm going to close by sharing the Community Action Promise. Community action changes people's lives, embodies a spirit of hope, improves communities, and makes America a better place to live. We care about the entire community, and we're dedicated to helping people help themselves and each other. So on behalf of the Board of CAPSAW, and the agencies we serve, and the staff, we thank you for your support. If you have any questions, I'm here, and so is the board.
Good team. Yeah, great. Thank you. Thank you. Any questions for Anna? Certainly impressive, and absolutely appreciate you taking the time to provide the update and all that you do. It's certainly a valuable resource here throughout the community, so thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Number 9 is to receive a presentation of updates to the Regional Hazards Materials Response Plan and consider adopting a resolution approving the revised plan.
So, Mr. Mayor, we'll have Mr. Kreitzer walk us through the summary review of those revisions, and then the council is asked to affirm or approve the revisions to the plan this evening by resolution. If we'll pause there, Gary will remain at the podium, and I'll furnish some information about the city's planning for coronavirus and whatnot. So,
Wonderful.
thanks.
Gary,
Good
how are
evening.
you?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, thank you for your time this evening. Every 5 years, we're required by federal law to update the Regional Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Plan. The 3 localities, Stanton, Waynesboro, and Augusta, participate in what's known as a Local Emergency Planning Commission. Ours is regional. The purpose of that planning commission is all hazards emergencies, but one of those is hazardous materials response. So this plan has been in place for a number of years. Every 5 years, we're required to go back and revisit it, make sure that it's in compliance with any new changes by the EPA, as well as to update the facilities updates from all of those industry and manufacturing and other industry that has hazardous materials on site. We work together and contract. We received a grant to do this from the Department of Emergency Management and FEMA. We, together, working with the Planning District Commission, updated the plan. You received the executive summary of that earlier. So this is really just a revision of an existing plan. It will be in place for 5 years, at which point it will, actually at 4 years, it will start its revision again, go back and update all the facilities, make sure that we have proper contacts, proper accountability for what they have on site, as well as look at our emergency response system to make sure that it's still in place and that nothing's changed.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Are there any questions, Mr. Kreitzer? All right. We've got a resolution. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution approving the revised Regional Hazardous Materials Emergency Response Plan?
I will make that motion.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I think the message that we want to stress to the council and to the community this evening is that amid the enormous amount of information, your municipal organization is focused on 3 main areas presently, and that is doing what we should be doing to support public health in the community, and that's working closely with the Virginia Department of Health, our regional health department, focusing on the well-being and health of our employees, to support our 3rd area of focus, and that's really making sure that we have plans and measures in place to deliver ongoing and continuity of service in the event that our community is impacted severely by the virus. We're stressing at this point, as some messages are coming through, that really citizens and employees alike should be exercising basically the same precautions that they would in personal hygiene and courtesy and contact during a heavy flu season. But there's a lot of information out circulating in perspective about what you should and shouldn't do. But we felt it was important to alert the council and the community again. Your municipal organization is aware. We're focused on continuity of service and partnering with the health department. I think we would regard information coming from the CDC and the Virginia Department of Health as guiding information for us, and would recommend the same to the community. And then folks who are interested can see a written statement on our website that makes that connections to that information available. And as the situation evolves, or as better or new information becomes available and relevant, we'll make that information available to the council. In the meantime, we'll be working with our not only internal departments to maintain continuity of service, but we've invited the schools to participate with that communication, and Mr. Kreitzer is coordinating with our regional partners. So If you have questions for me regarding our preparation or anything that Mr. Kreiser would like to add.
You covered it pretty well.
We're in good hands with Kreiser with Mr. Kreiser. In the heat of the moment, sometimes you lapse in that public safety last name speak, but we're in good hands with Mr. Kreiser and the executive leadership that we have in the organization.
I would stress, if you're interested in more information, both the Centers for Disease Control website and the Virginia Department of Health website have dedicated spaces for the coronavirus with current statistics and data. They are very good resources about how to protect your workplace, your home, your family, and some, as Mr. Hamp alluded, some very simple things such as hand hygiene and cough etiquette, et cetera, to protect yourself.
Great, thank you.
And I'm certainly available if you have any questions.
Any questions? I would just ask that, along with the website, that if maybe we could push that out on our social media pages too, with those resources, CDC and others, just so folks more broadly aware. Even if they read it third time on Facebook, at least it's we're out there with them. So,
Certainly.
yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Item 10 is a departmental update by Mr. Dwayne Jones, the Director of Parks and Recreation. Mr. Jones. No stress or anything, Mr. Jones, but I wanted to know, I shared Mr. Juday's planning thing just yesterday, and I think we have like over 600 views already in just
Excellent.
days.
We will double that by Thursday. Mayor, members of council, it is my pleasure to be here this evening to give you an update on some of the things we've been up to for the past year and on some things that are on the horizon. And Luke has set me up for failure.
He just turned it off.
There we go. A couple of years ago, we developed a vision and mission statement for our department. We got all our staff together and really thought about what we had been offering to the community. And so I just want to go over that. It sort of ties everything that I want to talk about tonight. But our vision is Waynesboro Parks and Recreation will expand its high-quality parks, facilities, and programs to connect people to nature and each other. Our parks and programs will provide something for everyone in our community and draw people to Waynesboro from around the region. Our mission, the mission of Waynesboro Parks and Recreation, is to provide recreational opportunities and amenities that make Waynesboro a community of choice and a regional destination. To achieve this, we will find and develop capable and passionate staff members, equipping them with the knowledge and the skill set necessary to fulfill their roles. Work as a team with one another and seek out partnerships with other departments and organizations that can help us achieve our vision. Use public resources in efficient and innovative ways, balancing maintenance of existing facilities and programs with expansion of new opportunities. Communicate opportunities and successes to citizens and potential visitors. Also want to take a moment to recognize our Parks and Rec Commission. Dr. Sam Hostetter is here, CW, Vicki, and Donna as well, and appreciate them attending tonight in support. We couldn't do this without passionate staff members. I'll start with this because I have an awesome staff, and everything that you see is part of what they work day in and day out, in the cold, in the sun. I am fortunate to be the captain of that ship. Most of the time we're rowing in the right direction. Sometimes on extravaganza weekend it becomes a pirate ship and they're looking for mutiny. But for the very most part, they are all rowing in the right direction at the same time. We are a large department in the city. We have 12 main areas of focus that we work with: administration, special events, our Run the Valley race series, programming and trips, parks maintenance, cemetery, Rosenwald Community Center, facilities maintenance across the entire city, horticulture and grounds maintenance division, custodial services, pool and athletics, and then also park master planning. So Parks and Recreation, by the numbers, we have 19 full-time staff, 2 permanent part-time staff, and around 30 seasonals, most of those comprised at the pool. Our parks and athletic facilities: 4 soccer fields, 6 baseball fields, 2 outdoor basketball courts, 8 picnic shelters, 3 playgrounds, 1 disc golf course, 5 tennis courts. We have 7 major parks of just under 400 acres, 1.2 miles of paved greenway currently, and 4 miles of blueway along the South River. Our pool attendance in 2019 was around 16,000, and we offered 225 kids swim lessons. Our Run the Valley is now comprised of 6 races with a little less than 2,600 participants throughout the year, and a little about 91,000 in revenue that we bring in. The cemetery averages around 40 lots and 70 burials per year. Our grounds and facilities maintenance service 6 major city buildings. We hosted 12 citywide events. Our shelters, and in Rosenwald, we range about 384 rentals, and again, that generates about $18,000 in revenue. And our Facebook platforms just topped the 10,000 mark. So our vision, connecting people to nature and each other, really, there's really nothing we do better than doing that with special events. It's a chance for the community to get out, to meet us. We have some fantastic parks in Waynesboro. We love pushing those events out in the parks. So I'll highlight a few of those. Our Egg Hunt is coming up on April 11th. Pet Palooza is a great event at Corner Springs Park, and we partner with the Shenandoah Valley Animal Center and make donations back to them. And it's just a great day, get kids out, adults, and dogs. And so what can go better, and Corner Springs is a great place to host it. The Rosenwald Block Party is a great community event located right in Waynesboro, really for the core folks around there. It's like a summer picnic. Just a fantastic event. We get to partner with some local agencies, fire department, police department, and folks that come out for the community to support that. That is coming up on May 9th. We also offer a family fiesta in Ridgeview Park. Those are on Monday nights in June. Those are free, family-centered, lots of different jugglers, the Wildlife Center, lots of different topics on Monday nights. Groovin' at the Greenway is in its 3rd year. And is a fantastic event. It takes place on Thursday nights in June and July. And while putting this together, I discovered this is what Constitution Park used to look like. For folks that may have forgotten how it's transformed, this is what it looked like when we started the Greenway project. And it has totally transformed a section, a small little section in downtown. And it really is a spectacular venue for festivals and summer concerts. Summer Extravaganza. In 2019, we launched Extravaganza 2.0. As those of you that may remember passionately that Summer Extravaganza was 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. We dropped it to 1 day several years ago, and in 2019 we brought back a 2.0. It's really a half day, a half night, and a full day. So maybe it's 2.5, I'm not sure. Maybe it's 1.5. But regardless, it's a fantastic, great summer event for Waynesboro, long tradition. We've added the Friday night sort of rides and petting zoo. We worked with the Children's Museum this year, and it really was well received. And then, of course, it always ends on the fireworks. That is July 10th and 11th this year. Also part of our vision is drawing people to Waynesboro from around the region, and our Run the Valley series does an excellent job of that. Again, we have 6 races. The last Saturday in February was our mud run. This was last year's photo when we actually had mud. This year it was just cold. But we had around 515 muddlers, as we call them. That race is about 55% women, 45% female. There's about 270 folks that come from Stanton, Augusta, and Waynesboro.
55 men and
55% men and 45% women. Sorry about that.
We're caught up now.
Move on. But another 225 folks came from all over the state of Virginia, and we had 21 folks from out of state. That really says it all. That's what we're all about with the Mud Run. It's really having a good time, a lot of team camaraderie that goes with that event. It is a fun event, and it's at a shoulder season. It's the end of February. Not a lot of tourist things going on here in Waynesboro. Our Park to Park is entering its 12th year. Last year we had 610 runners. 60% of those are female and 40% are male. We had about 220 runners from the Stanton, Augusta, Waynesboro area, 350 of those runners for other parts of Virginia, and 40 of those from out of state. Folks will travel further distance to run longer races, and it is a spectacular event, beautiful course, and it connects Stewart Straff Park to Ridgeview Park. And that is coming up at the end of April. We also started a kids mud run that is really spectacular. lots of fun. I liken it to herding cats because there's about 500 kids, and you can't really see that. That guy's expression tells it all. The other guy, you can't see number 5, but his tongue's hanging out, and that was in the first 20 feet. So it is a spectacular event. That's coming up on June 6th, and again, about 500 kids participate that every year. But it's not only fun for just the kids. We do some adult events. This is our 80s 8K that we added 2 years ago. It's a summertime run. Finishes at the pool. We have swimming, and a lot of folks like to dress up. So it is another event that we do, the Totally 80s 8K. Amenities that make Waynesboro a community of choice. Lots we could pick here, but horticulture and grounds maintenance really has a long history here in Waynesboro with Beautification Commission. A lot of the things that Waynesboro does and a lot of things that our crews do, people see and people notice. Certainly the Serenity Garden is something we can all be proud of. The downtown, the baskets, the containers, the banners, folks see that. They travel through. They let us know. And it really is spectacular. And the crew does a fantastic job. I did want to let you know that our baskets, we think they're famous, but Garden Gate magazine based in Iowa did a Google search. Waynesboro popped right up and called Stephen. That article there, Build a Better Basket, is our article. And we were featured with Vancouver and another city. And again, a national publication in their March, April issue of Garden Gate magazine. This is my plug for hiring folks. We are currently hiring for seasonal grounds maintenance. The guys and gals do a great job, but it is tough work, but we are currently hiring for seasonals. They do a spectacular job with all the lawns in different areas, soccer fields and athletic fields, and maintaining those. We've been, over the last several years, trying to integrate the city's logo on all kinds of things. It's been a long rollout procedure for us, whether it be Welcome To signs, park signs, and this is one that it was sort of a second phase. We'd replaced the signs one year, and the second phase was, again, trying to be a community choice, trying to folks come to see Ridgeview. It's a very active park, soccer games, the pool. We want folks to be greeted, so we sort of changed this. There's a lot of split rail that we have in the parks, and split rails for cows. We're about people, so we wanted to soften this entrance up a little bit. So we added some boulders as a barrier for vehicles, but then expanded the bed, and the Hort team and the maintenance team did a great job, and it ended up being a great situation. We also added one that was on Rosser Avenue. The Civic sign was in a little bit of state of disrepair. We had this actually on a long bucket list of mine to sort of make some changes, make it bigger. And when the new logo came, we had some signage. And this is a great project that both our parks maintenance and horticulture team completed together, and I think it turned out really well. We also have a mission to use our resources in efficient and innovative ways, balancing maintenance of existing facilities. This is Rosenwald Community Center. This is the gymnasium, and we have been working on trying to solve a water issue there for a number of years. And basically, it's sort of a masonite siding that began to crack. We had tried a couple different things on it that didn't work. We had tried a couple different contractors. And so we actually were doing a concrete project on a step project and met this company called Lane Technologies. And it's a little bit crazy to describe, but this is basically, they pressure washed the building, found all of these exposed cracks, added a special polymer to those cracks, and then that white patch at the bottom, the best way to describe it is like a cast material, if you were to break an arm. So they basically encased the entire gym area in this cast type material and then put a waterproof membrane on the outside. It was quite involved, but the one contractor said, you need to start over. And start over meant taking off all of this and going back to bare block, and that would have been super expensive. But we were fortunate enough to find Lane Technologies and sort of hybridize some of their technologies, and this was the final product, and it really, really looks spectacular there. In addition, inside the gym, because of the water problem, we weren't able to get paint to stick on the walls. So once we solved the outside issue, we moved to the inside, and we just recently completed this project for changing that, getting the paint scraped off, updating some old things. There was a broken scoreboard, some different things, sort of cleaned up the whole gym. And then we also restored the original colors to the Rosenwald colors, which we thought really worked out well. We do have a little bit more work to do on the floor and some heating system. We still have some moisture that's in the floor that's going to take some time, but we really thought the project is progressing nicely. Finally, leaning up parks master planning, that's really creating a long-term strategic vision for Waynesboro's parks. And what we're trying to do is connect people to nature, become a community of choice, and be a regional draw. I really believe wholeheartedly that our parks projects and the things that we have on the horizon can really be an outdoor economic engine for Waynesboro. I've been doing this a long time. We've all sort of been rolling this boulder up the hill, so to speak, and I think some of these projects that are on the horizon that we're involved with are really transformative for Waynesboro. We had a lot of those projects in a comprehensive plan that were identified, and so we believe that the community, with all that was involved in the comprehensive plan, believes in these projects or wants to see these projects move ahead. So Greenway Phase 2B, give you a quick update on that. We are in the right-of-way phase, so we have received approval from VDOT to approach the final remaining property owners to get easements, so that's exciting. We are working in concert, and I think we talked a little bit this several months ago, with the final remediation, the Mercury remediation project with Corteva, and that's just a plan of theirs. They are actually on site. They came on site in a flurry and began putting up fencing, construction roads. They're actually working on the berm. That berm will be replaced or would be lowered and allow for the greenway to be on the top of that berm. And again, they are actively working, trying to get ahead of the busy baseball season, which starts April. And this is just a slide showing you where that greenway actually will be. They are laying this sort of construction road, and once they pull out, they will leave that gravel and we will add asphalt. And voila, we will have a greenway. It is their final sixth project. This is sort of a rendering of what it might look like. They're adding some amenities. We're getting a new basketball court and realign that basketball court closer to the parking lot, and also to pick it up on our water trail with a kayak launch area that will be just off the parking lot. They'll also be more accessible on the riverbank, which is something that you really don't have at North Park now. So I think ultimately, looking long-term, this will be a great project for Waynesboro and put folks closer to the river, which we know that they want to be on the Greenway system. Quick update on Sunset. We moved from conceptual plans, which you have seen before. We're getting close to sort of finishing up a lot of the engineering plans, which is really based on the conceptual plans. Just some more details. We still have some things to pick, like materials and bricks and trees and things like that, but we are progressing nicely to finish up those plans. If you have noticed, recently there's been some work at the landfill. There's sort of green dots all over the mountain. Those are the gas remediation project. I'm excited to tell you, I spoke with engineering. That project was completed last week, and as part of the project, most of it was sort of encapsulating some of the gas wells, but they discovered during that process where some of the gas leaks were coming from. And so as soon as this came online, all of the gas levels dropped below the lowest they've been. So that's exciting news. And this, again, was really to protect the wells from a potential public, but it also had a benefit of managing the gas system and again, a lot of it were sunken pipes, and they fixed all of that with this project. So that is exciting news. Finally, the South River Preserve is progressing nicely in downtown. We're super excited to transform this donated parcel from asphalt to habitat for birds, fish, and people. We're also very excited that it is woven nicely into the proposed location for the Natural History Museum. And truthfully, I believe it's a museum without walls and a park with a purpose. And truthfully, I think their goals and our goals with the park will mesh together nicely. We're actually having a meeting here soon with their team and our team to talk about goals and ideas. And again, I envisioned it that folks would leave the museum and they wouldn't know that they've walked into a park, and there's different information, different displays. And I also think that our park will fit in with some of their natural history goals as well. So we're super, super excited about that and how that eventually will come and blend those two projects together. We have had some stakeholder meetings. We did some focus groups, focused mainly on fish and paddling groups. We've also focused on special events, and then finally downtown businesses. So we met, our team got a lot of information. They've been cranking out different things. We've had some follow-up meetings with local experts. They've been in the river, on the riverbanks, studying a lot of the things and different nuances of the river and learning from work that has come before them so they can gain lots of information. It's been a spectacular process to date. Just as a little teaser of some of the work that's being done, the public meeting that we have for the public is April 23rd at 6 p.m. at the library, and we'll be putting a lot of information out as we get closer to that. But if you wanted to jot that date down, on April 23rd, 6 p.m., we'll have the team, which is Ann Holt Associates and the Timmons Group, and they will make a presentation and really get feedback. Again, we've taken it from the stakeholder groups up to the public, and I think they are on the right track, and it's really going to be a transformative project for Waynesboro and the area. And with that, I'll open it up for any questions you may have.
That was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Covered a lot of ground.
What's that?
You covered a lot of
A
ground.
lot of ground. I had
ground.
7 minutes, according to Mr. Ham.
Excellent job.
Any questions for Mr. Jones?
No, sir, when he presents well, you don't have to have questions.
I know, it was great. You know, the first slides, how many full-time employees do we have again?
So we have 20 with 2 permanent part-time.
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
I mean, so
And lots of seasons.
20 staff and all of that. That is absolutely
A lot.
remarkable. Yeah, it's wonderful. Thank you so much,
you.
Dwayne. All right, number 11 is a departmental update by Mr. Kevin Osborne, the library director. Mr. Osborne, how are you? Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to meet everyone officially.
Yeah.
All right. I don't have as many fun pictures as my colleague, but I promise it'll be very exciting for a library presentation. So as you know, I'm rounding out about 7.5 months as the library director. So here's what happened in the past year. So we had 135,000 visitors. We have a door counter, so these numbers are honest. I have a machine that tells me. And to break that into something a little more digestible, that's about 430 people a day coming through our front door for any number of services. We're open 68 hours a week. We actually outpace Stanton and Augusta for hours open to the public. And Monday through Friday, we are open 9 to 9. So if you're downtown having coffee or whatever, when everyone else shuts down, we're still open for about 2 more hours. And we are open 9 to 5 every Saturday. We have 234,000 physical items, books, DVDs, puppets, which we actually do have. 17,250 online materials. So these are checkouts. 234,000 items went out. 17,000 were checked out on a phone or a mobile device or a laptop, and 37,000 items were put on hold, which is the shelf you see when you walk in the door where you're like, I really want that new book, and like Rhonda says, oh, put it on hold, and you get an email. That's a lot. We are cooking through those. So we have 90,000 physical books in the collection, 363,000 ebooks. Disparity is obvious because we don't have to store them, so it's great. Hoopla Overdrive. There's a Pew statistic that 46% of people don't know the public library circulates ebooks. So I hope if half the people in the room didn't know that, they do now. All right. We do have 7,200 DVDs on the shelf in the building and 50 physical magazines. So in the past year, we added 3,500 new titles and 6,200 physical items. So very popular items will get more than one copy. We have 15,000 registered card holders. If you crunch the numbers, that's about 70% of the city having a card. There's a little bit of blur. Some people from Augusta or Crozet will come to us to get a card. We're very happy when that happens. Those numbers far outpace national numbers. So we're very proud of that. 6,000 of those users are active users, which means they're engaging with the checkout system. That does not necessarily mean that they're ebooks, booking rooms, just using facility. We don't have a way to trap that number, so the number of active users is probably higher. That's the number of people actively taking a physical item from the building. In the past year, we added nearly 1,000 new users at our location. We have 20 computers, 23,000 computer sessions totaling 15,000 hours of computer use. We are the place for adults, teens, and children to come use a computer publicly for free. We have Wi-Fi. We have 85 sessions a day, so if you do the math on that, that's 31,000 a year, which is actually 33% higher than our free computer usage. So there are people bringing in laptops, iPads, their phones to use the internet that the city provides. We, of course, have printing and copying services. We did 34,000 printed pages last year. We charge a fair fee. I actually tracked down the UPS store to make sure that we're not like overcharging the public. We're very competitive. We also don't charge to use the computer. So for people who are of less means, who need to produce job documents, school documents, whatever, we're doing it right. We have a photocopier, of course. We also have a fax machine and a notary. We're one of the few places in town where you can come get a notary right away. We have 3 study rooms, 1 conference room, and 2 large rooms. Of course, the large rooms are our most popular. We have city trainings, we host business trainings, community meetings, story times, any number of things there. They're open to the public. All you have to do is have a library card. So anyone studying or needs to have a meeting, the YMCA has a weekly meeting in our conference room. And we have projectors and screens available. So if you need to make a presentation, you can come do it at the library. In the past year, over 1,000 people have reserved a room. Those do not include the study rooms because those are first come, first serve. We're open nights and Saturdays with the rooms, and as we discussed, community groups and local groups. So, local history. We have a full-time historian, Karen, who has been there for quite some time. I assume everyone knows her. In that room, we have special items, microfilm, local records, and more. It's sort of your micro-museum of Waynesboro history down there. She is a human encyclopedia of everything that's ever happened, and she can help you with genealogy. And this year, we acquired Ancestry.com, which a database service I think most people are familiar with. You can use it in the building for free. It's a service we provide. You can create an account, and all of your work you do gets saved. Karen or any of the staff can kind of walk you through what you need to do, navigating census records or what have you. Programs and events are our big draw for people who want more than a book. And believe it or not, we have a lot of them. 480 children's programs. When you think children's program, story time, read along, 9,000 attendees in the year, and we had 180 adult programs with 3,100 attendees. This is some of the literacy outreach that we do. So my librarians leave the building and go to where the children are to make sure that they're getting quality literacy education, story times, interactive play. Everyone on here gets 2 visits a month, except Wayne Hills. We just started with them, so right now they're just 1, but that's probably gonna triple. Summer reading. Anyone involved in education is familiar with summer slide, which is the idea that students are not in classes, so they're engaging with reading less. And the fear is that by reading less, they are less prepared in the coming years. So the library likes to fill this gap with a program called Summer Reading, where we make a game out of reading as many books as a child wants to read. We host multiple events. There's a sign-up, there's a tracking mechanism, and there's prizes, giveaways. So we had 390 children register last year. I'm hoping to increase that number in the coming year. But of them, we had 1,440 children attend programs through the summer. So they come, they're getting exposed to books, they're getting exposed to literacy, and they're physically in a room full of books, so there's a high likelihood they will take one with them. We have aggressively started marketing to teens. Teens are tricky to get into the library. They live difficult lives and they're busy, so we're trying to come up with interactive things to get them to come. The Friends of the Library bought us an Xbox, and we host video game sessions where they are physically forced to walk through a section of books to get to them. So they'll probably, like, at the very least, I don't know, use them for cover when we have Nerf gaming. And of course, we have craft nights. We had craft night 2 weeks ago. We did little baby Yodas made out of felt. I'm pretty proud that teens showed up and made baby Yodas out of felt. It was really cool. And we have one coming where we plan on doing make your own hand sanitizer. And it should be Pikachu themed. We've got a whole lot going on with that one. All right, so these are our collaborations. These are what I could fit on the slide. There are more. We work with city agencies, we work with private businesses, we work with community groups. Pretty much anyone who can support what we do, we want to work with. And I always view the library as like a wagon wheel. We're the center, and we can connect people to other things that they might not have found without traveling through us. So if I can have someone at Kiwanis says, oh, I really want to know something that's going on at Parks and Rec, I'll be like, yeah, I got it. I got the flyer. Come see me. All right, our major events. We have lots of major events, but these are like the big 4 I like to showcase. Summer reading, which we discussed. Our haunted library program, which is an annual program. You can come into the library after hours, and it's a haunted house. This year, we had over 400 people come to that. We have Breakfast with Santa, where we have a black Santa and we always coordinate with Jeff from the YMCA to make sure our Santa doesn't overlap with their Santa, so there's an opportunity for people who in town with tight schedules to make sure they do get a Santa Claus program. And then we have a concert series. We try to have live music at least once a month, and our big event was a Bob Dylan mega show where multiple bands came out, and we had over 600 attendees. And they raised over $600 for hurricane relief. So in the coming year, we want to collaborate more. We want to get out in the community more. City agencies, businesses, community groups, the schools, we have a whole lot of that in the pipeline already. We want to offer new services and new programs. We want to hear what the people want and give them more of it. Focus on customer service. You know, libraries suffer from a reputation of being, you know, beaded glasses on chains and shushing people. We don't shush people. You're welcome to talk on your phone. We want to help you with whatever it is. And of course, more books. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Mr. Osborne?
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much.
I hope you all have library cards.
Thank you. I played at the Bob Dylan show, as a matter of fact. All right. That was really great. All right, number 12 is a report from the Deputy City Manager, Jim Shaw, regarding the enforcement of City Code Chapter 38 pertaining to inoperable vehicles. Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, we wanted to report on a matter that we understand is of some interest to the council. In recent months, the city building official has initiated a concerted effort to reduce the number of inoperable vehicles found on private properties throughout neighborhoods of the city. Since November, the city building official's office has opened 111 cases involving 161 inoperable vehicles. Vehicles have been identified either by citizen complaint or by reconnaissance of the city's property maintenance inspector. I wouldn't purport to tell you that that constitutes all of the inoperable vehicles that may be found in the city. So certainly if citizens would like to report vehicles, or you as council would hear of vehicles, all we need is an address, and the building official's office would be the appropriate office to report those to. Initially, the city's property maintenance inspector mailed courtesy notices to offending property owners, and then quickly transitioned to site visits and telephone and email communication in an effort to prompt voluntary compliance. And thus far, 70 vehicles have been removed through voluntary compliance. So I think that's and we're working with a number of the folks who are either in partial compliance or have not yet complied to get their vehicles moved. And while I think that has been successful, we are transitioning to a formal notice of violation to compel compliance in accordance with both the city code and the Code of Virginia. So in general terms, what that looks like is that in order to prompt compliance, that we have to provide a proper notice of violation to the owner of real property where an inoperable vehicle is located. If the owner fails to bring the property in compliance within 10 days, then we may either initiate removal of the vehicle or begin fines for non-compliance. If we remove a vehicle within 5 days, then we're required to provide notice to the vehicle owner or anyone who holds interest in the vehicle, if there's a bank note or a lien or something like that on a vehicle. If the vehicle's been removed, then the owner would have 21 days to reclaim their vehicle and pay all of the associated costs of towing, storage, and administration. If the inoperable vehicle is not reclaimed, then the city or its agents may sell the inoperable vehicle at auction or otherwise to a licensed demolisher who shall take custody of the vehicle at that point. Additionally, a person violating the city's ordinance pertaining to inoperable vehicles is subject to a civil penalty in the amount of $200 for the initial violation and $500 for each additional violation. So if you have 2 vehicles, that would be $700. Each day during which the violation is found to have existed shall constitute a separate offense. However, a specified violation arising from the original notice shall not result in civil penalties that exceed $5,000. So our hope is, certainly that we would continue to get folks to move vehicles. It wouldn't be our hope to ever have to tow a vehicle. It's not our hope to have to find folks, but those are tools that are available to us if folks don't comply with the law, essentially. Glad to answer any questions that the council might have.
I don't have any questions, but I want to thank you guys for all your hard work behind this, but you have put a lot of work into it. The zoning department and the staff have done a really good job, and we're starting to see people voluntarily comply, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I'd echo that. I mean, it's definitely, I think, one of the top 5 of things that complaints that I hear, and 70 vehicles in just the short time frame that we're talking about here is pretty remarkable. So certainly think all staff involved.
Yeah, and I would add to that, it'd be nice to maybe get a quarterly update or so, sort of where we stand and how far we're getting down on that list.
Be glad to do that.
Thank you. All right, item 13 is to consider introducing an ordinance appropriating a portion of unassigned fund balance in the general fund in the amount of $15,000 to the general fund for migration of public safety servers to a virtualized platform. Mr. Shaw.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is basically an investment to improve cybersecurity, specifically as applied to public safety resources.
All right. Are there any questions, Mr. Shaw? Is there a motion to introduce?
So moved.
Great, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, being introduced, we'll just bring this forward to our March 23rd meeting. Item 14 is to consider adopting an ordinance appropriating Adult Education and Family Literacy Act federal grant funds in the amount of $13,584 to the school funds to be used to operate the Regional Adult Basic Education High School Equivalency, English Language Acquisition, and Citizenship classes. Mr. Hamp.
Yes, sir. The next 2 items are federal grant monies being appropriated, and because of that, the council has the ability to adopt the ordinances appropriating the funds this evening. So unless you have questions or require additional information, you can just move through those.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 15 is to consider adopting an ordinance appropriating Adult Education and Family Literacy Act federal grant funds in the amount of $4,239 to the school funds to be used to operate the Regional Adult ESL and Citizenship classes. Mr. Hamp, anything else? Any
no, sir.
questions? Okay. Is there a motion to adopt?
I'll make it.
Great. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 16 is to consider appointing 3 viewers and an alternate to consider the impact of a request by Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to dissolve lot lines and vacate 151 square feet of undeveloped alley right-of-way behind 1604 First Street, City Tax Map 28-8-147-1 to resolve an encroachment issue and allow a vacant building to be sold. Any member like to suggest a viewer? We need 3 and an alternate.
I'd say Doris Hovey.
Okay. Need 2 more and an alternate. It's your pleasure.
Garnett Weatherholtz.
Okay, Garnett. And,
Go ahead.
yeah, how about Mark Stevens and Ellen Winter as an alternate? 'Cause Ellen's usually on the thing, so as an alternate. She's got a lot of experience. That all sound good? Like, someone would like to make that motion?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
And I guess we'll make Ms. Holby the chair, since she was the first one up to bat. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. Communication, correspondence, and calendar. Mr. Hamp.
I don't have anything this evening, sir.
Thank you. Next on deck is the citizen comment period. Do we have anyone signed up this evening?
No one has signed up this evening, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Next would be I have no closed meeting this evening, so it would be an adjournment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.